Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I'm a high school maths teacher. My idea for a web application is a version of Battleships, and I've done a similar activity on paper before as a review for Cartesian coordinates. My app aims to provide necessary differentiation to allow all students to compete at any level which isn't achievable offline. Alright, the game setup screen, or the initial landing page, starts with an option to start a new game or to find an opponent by entering in a player name. Once it's been initialised, the opponent status bar, which increases as the opponent gets set up, will activate, as well as all of the options here to place the different items. We also have our buttons to make sure that we can either have our confirm points enabled and whether or not we want chat enabled. Both start out as true. Once a player is ready to go, they press go here, and then as soon as that is done and the opposition status is at 100%, we move into gameplay. In the game area we have two boards. We've got player 1's map, where player 2's guesses will appear, and then over on the other side player 2's map for player 1 to search through. When it's player 1's turn, their name will be highlighted and the actual active map is on the other side. During my turn, this space becomes a type screen and a type entry screen, and so I would need to enter open bracket, the x coordinate I'm selecting, comma, the y coordinate I'm selecting, and then close bracket. If I have please confirm or confirmation help enabled, then a little marker is going to show up in that space on my board, and it is up to me to confirm that that's the location. If I don't have that enabled, then the marker just doesn't show up and I click confirm here. When it's the opposition's go, this space just displays the coordinates in their bracket form, and nothing is actually shown as an indicator on my screen. It is up to me to find that coordinate correctly in this space and correctly select hit or miss. If I select the wrong one, the computer prompts up to say that I haven't selected the right thing, and the marker will then show up in this space and I need to change my selection. Back after that's been sent through, the hit or the miss status of the marker changes by colouring in as black or as red, as is normally expected. Over on the right hand side we have our chat box, and which is always going to be active and if chat is enabled. It's going to have a automatic scrolling message board, the entry space down the bottom, and a send button. During the setup, the data that is being sent includes the player's name, an initial board which is initialised with all misses, and player 1 then converts particular points to hit, and we also have whether or not we've got chat enabled and whether or not we want confirmation assist in it. During gameplay, the data we are sending includes the player 1's board, which is arranged as has been set up before, and then player 2's board would be displayed, which for player 1 is originally coded in unplayed, and it's 21 arrays of length 21, because we need to go from -10 through to +10 and 0. We then also will be constantly sending guess arrays, which have a length 2. At the moment I think it's an array, but it might end up being a string in the end. And then we also have the open boolean of whether or not we've achieved a hit with that. We also, during play, have our confirmation, which originally sits as false and switches to true when we hit that button. Our chat board would consist of the data of the author, so the player name, the timestamp, which actually comes from the computer's data, and then the actual message that the user has entered in. The messages that go between the server and the clients include establishing the connection, so that's the status, the opponent ID and how far along they are in setting up their board, and whether or not they have chat enabled. We're not going to send through whether or not confirming points has been enabled. Then the messages around the guessing, we need to send the coordinates of each of the guesses, and once that's actually been confirmed as true. The opponent would need to then send their response of hit or miss, once the servers receive the correct response from the opponent. The chat messages would include the author, the time, and the actual message that's been sent. I can foresee difficulties in having a clear plan for the development. At the moment, I'm going to begin with basic markup and get the guesses appearing on the boards correctly. I hope in the next section of the project to have the guesses and the chat completed. I'm mostly concerned with which component or aspect to start on first and then bringing all of those components together, because I've had issues with MongoDB and IntelliJ on projects in the past, and so just making sure that I can troubleshoot those along the way.